Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Shadows in the Dark. We are broadcasting live from the Green Park Inn Paranormal Conference, and as always, when we broadcast from a haunted place, we have technical difficulties, and I am, quite frankly, doing this without any sound. So we're gonna double check to make sure everything is coming through all right. It just seems to be the norm when we try to broadcast from somewhere like this, and we are at a haunted hotel, the Green Park Inn in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. So let's just double check. We're going to make sure that all sound is good because, like I said, I have none whatsoever. And again, our last time we done a show from a haunted location, we had the same problem. I actually had to postpone it. So let's just double check. Okay, well, apparently everybody's saying they can hear us, so that's good. So we know everything's working fine. I just can't hear any music we play or anything like that, but again, we are here at a haunted hotel, and it always seems to happen when we go to a haunted location that something crazy with the show tends to take place. But again, this has been going on all weekend, started yesterday, and going through tomorrow, and we've been here since about 4 o'clock yesterday evening. Right now, I think they even have a ghost hunt going on. They've been doing ghost hunts. They've had many speakers, panels. It's been quite an interesting time so far. Quite a few people show up. I guess it looks like maybe 100 to 150 people so far in and out. We're going to have hopefully a couple people on tonight with us to kind of talk about maybe what they've experienced here or some of the stories behind the place. And here in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by one of the groups that are here with us throughout this conference to talk a little bit about how they do things, what their part in all this is, and then just a minute or two. If you're out there listening live, we do want to remind you, you can tune in to you can sign into the chat room and take part. We do monitor the chat room. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to take any calls, obviously, because, number one, I don't have any sound, so I can't take any calls. I won't be able to hear you, and I'm just really kind of watching the chat room. We're a little bit more low-key than we normally are, where we have 2 or 3 monitors in front of us doing the show. We have one little laptop, very limited internet connection, so as long as everything is streaming fine, that's our main concern right now, so everything seems to be all right. Well, we're going to go ahead and kind of talk with one of the groups that are here, and this is Paranormal Scene Investigators. Make sure I get that right. Is that right? All right. And who we've got with us is Joe Wright, correct? All right. We've got Joe Wright with us sitting here beside me. Joe, if you could just kind of pull around, that way we can kind of share the mic, make sure everybody picks us up all right. So now how long has PSI been into paranormal investigations?
The group began in late 2006. We've been on approximately 36 investigations over the last couple of years. We're based out of Forest City, North Carolina, and we've accumulated quite a few members that have a similar interest in the paranormal. We display the evidence that's captured on the website for all to see, and we welcome any comments or any explanations for some of the evidence that's captured. So feel free to drop us a line and let us know what you think.
Well, give out your website right fast before we really get into talking about things here.
The website is www.paranormalsceneinvestigators.com.
All right. Now, I think your group is pretty much kind of heading all the ghost hunts here. It seems to me that you're kind of planning and putting it a little bit together here. So you finding that difficult?
No, it's actually been a lot smoother than anticipated.
That's good.
As anyone knows that deals with a large group of people, it's kind of hard to get 50 to 80 people to do the same thing at the same time. But the response from all the attendees has just been wonderful. We've had a lot of positive energy in the groups and a lot of good quality investigation techniques being practiced even by the individuals who have never investigated before.
Oh, well, yeah, it seems like from what I've been asking people how many hunts they've been on before, and from what I'm taking, it seems like almost everybody here this is their first time.
The media has been responsible for educating the general public on the proper way to investigate with such shows that are on the different channels now. I don't know if I can even mention those shows.
Yeah, you can.
Okay, such shows as Ghost Hunters, which is the Forefront, and Paranormal State. The techniques are being adopted by the individuals, so they're familiar with the proper way to conduct a paranormal investigation, or at least the basic tools or skills needed.
And we've definitely had a lot of groups on here, talking about ghost hunting, kind of their techniques, and you were really different from a lot of the ones that we've talked about due to the way that you handle your investigations. And I'll let you kind of explain it because I'll jumble words and stuff. But so I'll let you explain how it is that your group exactly goes about an investigation that is different from most that you see out there.
Our investigation team is basically a paraforensics team. We investigate in a forensic style investigation, or do all our investigations in a forensic style. We've adopted some of the teachings or some of the practices from shows like Ghost Hunters, along with some of the forensic teachings or styles of actual crime scene investigators. The combination of the two allow us to accumulate evidence in a way that most groups do not, and gives us a different insight into the paranormal.
Now, what kind of equipment do you guys use that you normally wouldn't find in the Ghost Hunters handbag?
We use radio frequency detectors in order to determine whether evidence is being manipulated by radio frequencies. We use a basic forensic kit that gives us the ability to test for things like blood spots, which are human hemoglobin. We track air currents in order to determine whether drafts are causing doors or items to be moved. We're also able to set up a real rudimentary laser grid to test for EMF anomalies to see if they can cause a visual distortion in midair.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's definitely equipment I don't have. So how often do you have to beg your wife for all this stuff?
I usually come up with a good reason why it will help us to get done sooner and produce the best quality results. And she's very supportive. I mean, I would not be able to do anything that I do without her support.
Yeah, I've had to come up with creative reasons myself. Well, if you have this, we could really show this. But now we've got a question coming from the chat room from Stillhead there, asking, have you ever been to Devil's Stomping Ground?
Actually, I have not. I've seen quite a bit of information about the Devil's Stomping Ground. I believe YouTube has several videos or small segments of people that have had personal experiences there. I hope to one day visit places like that, as well as the Brown Mountain Lights location and some other popular haunts in this area.
All right, so now, is this your first time here at the Green Park Inn? Ever been here before?
No, this is our first time.
All right, so now, being here overnight so far, I guess kind of what, been here a day and a half or so, what's kind of your take on it?
It's a beautiful older building, and what we have learned from the investigations we've performed in the past or in other locations, that older structures tend to hold larger amounts of kinetic or paranormal activity. Just from their age, the foot traffic over the years, they tend to absorb higher amounts. And if that can draw from other sources and manifest, then it can cause the reports that we're capturing.
Now, in older buildings, I know one of the difficulties doing investigations myself is the fact of the wiring. Have you been finding that to maybe be something that's harder to use EMF detectors in these older structures because of the unshielded wiring?
In some locations, yes, but it actually hasn't seemed to affect this location that much. We recently did an inn in another part of North Carolina that, because of the wireless speaker system that they use to broadcast their ambient music, we were unable to use some of our sensitive equipment as well as some of the wireless cameras. But here, everything is agreed very well with our equipment.
Oh, that's good. And it is a beautiful place. It's huge. I didn't realize the size of this place. You know, coming up here and walking here, it's just, you can get lost in here very easily. But it is such a beautiful place, and I like how, you know, it does have that old feel to it. They didn't come in and remodel it to modern times. They really kept some of that authenticity of the place, and it's beautiful.
And that's what adds to its beauty. That's what adds to its appeal to a paranormal investigator, keeping the basic aesthetics of the hotel almost unchanged from the time it was built.
Yeah. Now, just give us a rundown, just briefly, of some of the equipment you've got set up in here, like how many cameras and something. You've got cameras all over the place. I'm afraid to sleep at night, to be honest.
You don't have anything to worry about. Right now we have 17 cameras set up in different locations throughout the hotel, 3 multiplexers. We have quite a few separate audio listening devices set in different areas in order to try to capture EVPs. We're using a lot of handheld equipment on this hunt as we're allowing the public to investigate for the first time in a mass, or participate in a mass investigation. The overall consensus from everyone is that almost everyone has seen and felt a little something. But the worst part about it, well, not necessarily worse, but the hardest part is still yet to come. After the conference is over, we're going to have to sift through approximately 200 hours of video and at least 100 hours of audio to try to see what is paranormal and what's totally normal for this area.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot to go through, because these cameras are running the entire day. You're not just flicking them on all night, right?
No, they're on all the time. They're on right now.
Yeah, so that's I feel for you on that. So I wish you all the luck on going through all that stuff. Now, you know, getting you on here kind of the way that you do hunting a little different, ghost hunting with different types of equipment. Any kind of advice you can give out there I mean, we have a lot of ghost hunters that listen to the show and go on investigations. Anything you really want to say to them that maybe is different than what you really see out there?
Everyone should investigate in a way that's most comfortable for them. The less stress that you put yourself through, the better your results and the more fun you'll have. Mm-hmm. You do not have to go out and spend thousands of dollars on equipment. There are a few basic pieces that you can acquire relatively inexpensive that can supply you with several hours of investigating and several hours of fun.
All right. Well, Joe, I really appreciate taking a few minutes here. I'll let you get back to checking on equipment and whatever, and look forward to working with you throughout the night. And yeah, we're going to get Scott Nicholson here, give us a little of the history. But now, before we do that, if there's somebody in here that maybe want to see if we got anybody that's had any experiences to bring in here, maybe not afraid to talk to a few thousand people live, so that would be awesome.
Let me go see who I can round up for you.
So that would be very cool. So, like I said, if you're out there tuning in live, you're more than welcome to join us in the chat room. And if you've just tuned in, you're listening to Shadows in the Dark right here on Blog Talk Radio. We're also syndicated on Black Vault Radio at Black Vault Radio Network. Black Vault Radio Network at blackvaultradio.com. Planet Paranormal at planetparanormal.com. UFO Paranormal Radio Network at paranormalradionetwork.com. And Para-X at para-x.com. I'm surprised I remembered all that this time around. I usually have it in front of me. But so the next person we're going to have on us to join us here is Scott Nicholson, who is a local author and is also the one who put together all this conference, which I must say you've done a great job with it. It's just an amazing place and a lot of great people here.
Yeah, it's incredible. When the idea first came, when I went over a year ago, I went on a hunt with the local team, a regional team, and just cover it for the newspaper, and I thought, well, what about having a few more people here and doing like several group hunting at one time, and then maybe a few panels, because I've been to science fiction conventions as a writer and the conferences and things, and thought, let's have one where we get like-minded people together to do some investigating. I figured maybe 20 people would show up, and then it started coming together, and I met Joe and the PSI team, and really amazing, and it got me really interested in it. And then I met you and your Wilkesboro hunt and the 24 hours straight, and all these people are crazy. and let's find out more about them. And then it started coming together, and then this last few weeks, just people came from all over, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee. One guy drove from Florida. It's been amazing. And for me, I'm not a skeptic. I'm just a casual paranormal. It sounds cool, you know.
Right.
I don't have any tools. I've never seen a ghost. I don't know what I believe. I believe in the possibility, but for me, it was the people. The people I kept meeting in this paranormal community were all seeking something. Either they were seeking a scientific explanation, the element of faith, proof of the afterlife, or just something mysterious, magical, a little something more than what most people, of course now most people seem to be interested in the paranormal, so it's not even odd. It's almost like you're odd if you're not interested. I don't see how it can be so, I don't want to say square because that's kind of condemning, but you know, how can you just be open to that magic and mystery of life and what might happen after life?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely been it seems like, you know, well, I don't want to say a huge increase because I think most people are always interested, but there's been this whole acceptance that has come about over the last 5 or 6 years that is great because people are very open about their beliefs on the paranormal, ghosts in particular, and really getting out there and talking about it and sharing their experiences, which gives us, you know, gives the paranormal community a lot more data to be able to compare, find patterns and things like that. So it is great. Now, what draws you to the inn? I mean, you're local, but is there anything else, you know, more about it that you really thought we've got to have it here?
Well, for me, I'm more of a folklorist than a paranormal investigator. So the appeal to me was the history of this place as a Civil War stockade site, and then Native American lore before that, and just it seems like this, and it's right on the Eastern Continental Divide. There's weird energies here in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. Just the weather will change 8 times a day. It can change 20 or 30 degrees. As we've seen, we've had, you know, started out with 4 inches of snow, and then we got up into the 30s or 40s today. So just this is a place a little bit magical, and I think the whole Appalachian mountain chain has this weird energy going on. That's why it draws me so much.
Yeah.
Why I'm stuck here with my hillbilly horror and all these using supernatural legends in my writing, and just to seek out these places that people tell stories about. And to me, it's not what scientific evidence you might find, because I don't know if I believe it. If you show me a picture, it's like, oh, that's just a picture. I still have to believe in the picture.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
Ultimately, it comes down to faith, and that's what's really interesting to me about it, the psychology of the people. It's almost like my first ghost time, I was more looking around at the people than I was looking for ghosts. It's like, what's making these people tick? Why are they,
right.
What are they looking for? And so,
why are they crazy, right?
Why are they normal?
Yeah.
They're honest about their craziness. So
yeah.
I love that. I can embrace it and get behind it.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the history of the place. Exactly, kind of, you know, when the Green Park Inn was built?
I believe it's 1882. I've got it on my website, but it's a Civil War stockade. 1865, the Civil War is pretty much over, but a guy named Kirk was a thug who was a Union. They drafted him as a Union colonel just so he'd be on their side, and they just basically turned him loose around here on the Confederate families and do pretty much what he wants. And the golf course outside is supposed to have the bodies, you know. Apparently, if he got mad at you, it didn't take much for him to put a bullet in your head. But so we don't really have an actual body count on that. But that was one of the things that interests me in the history. And then, like Joe was talking about, I figure you get these layers of accumulated stuff going on, right. Human activity that's going to make some kind of imprint, whether that's, I've talked to people here that were taking it from a quantum theory position to a psychic, to just everybody has all these different beliefs, and to me they can all fit under that same umbrella, but it's a really broad umbrella.
Yeah, it is, and we get talking a lot about quantum physics on the show here itself many times, and it seems to be one of the latest things is really starting to make headway in the paranormal community, and it's great that we're looking at different angles. Now, what about some of the particular stories, ghost stories about the Green Park Inn? Do you know some of the stories yourself?
Well, a couple of the rooms I feel the room 318, the jilted bride hanging herself in it, is typical urban legend to me. There's nothing really special to me about that story.
Right.
They do have a picture of a so-called Laura Green hanging in the lobby, and I've heard interesting stories about how it got there. They found the picture later and then decided she was Laura. It was sort of like, one of these fortuitous, we found this at a yard sale and it's Laura and kind of thing. So that just smacks to me of just kind of something people like to tell. But room 210, a lot of people seem to have, and there's a ghost register here that has a lot of these stories recorded in it, but a lot of people seem to feel an energy there. There's 327, that's the one on the hunt where I kind of felt a little energy, and I can't describe what it is, but just, something not quite right or different. I don't know, maybe in some of the angles. And I know the architecture has an influence on your brain.
Yeah, it does.
So it's like everything warps, so and there's lots of mirrors here, so I wonder how much of it's staged by the hotel, because they hadn't been shy about ghosts, but I think this is the first time they ever went public with like, hey, come on in and check out our ghosts. So.
That's cool. I've definitely run across some places that they did not want to tell you they had ghosts. They flat out told you, sorry, we do not have ghosts here. Even though you hear stories, they're all over the place. And I'm not going to say which place in particular, but we'll just say the largest house in America, and we'll leave it at that. And you're right with the way that the architecture is you got slanted floors, you got mirrors all over the place, and I even noticed on one, I thought they were the coolest rooms, and I was kind of upset that I didn't get one of these rooms, is when you go down the hallway, they have windows in the hallway of these rooms. I mean, that's just the coolest thing. They got beautiful rooms here, and I was like, why didn't I get a hall window?
Yeah, keep coming back. You'll probably get a different one every time. Every one of them's different. I've been in a lot of them, and every one of them's got its own unique characteristics. They're not the Motel 6 for sure.
Well, now, I know they can look up some of the stuff on this on the website. So what's your website and the website?
www.hauntedcomputer.com, and we're also going to, one of the things I'd like to come out of this, and I know Joe's doing it, is putting some up on the results on his site, and that's paranormalsceneinvestigators.com, and make this a kind of a storehouse. I want to keep mine coming. Hopefully we'll have another one next year and make it an annual event, but to have a storehouse of this where people are, I've already started it with stuff I've gathered, but just weird evidence, pictures, video clips, EVP, and just kind of build the database and over time and see which ones kind of will match up and which ones kind of just don't seem to be transpiring, and just build a little community around it.
Yeah, that would be cool. And the people here are so nice. Yeah. Everybody I've met, and like I said, they've come from all around, and just everybody's been so nice. And here in a few minutes, we're going to have somebody to share some of their experiences with us. And now, I'm sure everybody's kind of come up to you to tell you what they've experienced. Have you had that happen quite a bit so far?
Yeah, mostly it's been of the variety of, like, I have to talk to you later about what happened. So, as far as evidence, like I said, I don't know what I would count as evidence, but tomorrow morning we're going to gather, and that's going to be the whole purpose of that morning thing, is let's see what we got, put out. It's going to be hard because nobody's going to have time to go through all their material, but just the personal experiences. The woman across the hall from me came out and said, ooh, I had, something happen. That definitely in that room, and then my first thought was, maybe you're just more susceptible, or is it wishful thinking, or you want something to happen? I didn't sleep much, but I slept solidly and nothing bothered me. But then, in a way, it just kind of reaffirmed my own personal faith foundation, just like individual seeking, but with that confidence of part of me when I started this is like, man, maybe something bad will leech on to me. What am I stirring up here? Because I don't really know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's a human vanity. But at the same time, as this has gone on, I feel like it's okay. I'm not here to take anything from the ghosts. I'm not here to make them dance for me. It's kind of like I'm chill with what you are. Let's be in the states we're in, and that's okay with me.
That's great, and I hope to see it turn into an annual event, because I've enjoyed being here. It's been a lot of fun. Meeting great people and getting the chance to talk to them and share opinions and theories and thoughts about, not just ghosts, but many different aspects of the paranormal, which is a very broad topic itself. So it's been such a pleasure, and it's I think you picked a great place. This is a beautiful hotel, and it's got a great history behind it. And I think the history behind a lot of places you go is really sometimes the most fascinating part about it. I mean, being close to Wilkesburg, you know of the old jail and the Smithy Hotel, and we've had the opportunity to investigate in there, and just being there, sitting in the jail that Tom Dooley was incarcerated in, it's just it's an amazing experience itself, to be able to do that. So,
history comes alive even when it's dead.
That's right. That's exactly right. So, Scott, I appreciate you taking time to give us a little bit about it. So, thank you so much. And I think we're going to welcome somebody else here to tell us a little bit about what's going on and why they're grabbing a seat here. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to Shadows in the Dark. We've got a special broadcast going on here live from the Green Park Inn Paranormal Conference right here in Boiling Rock, North Carolina. So, and what's your name?
My name's Steve Burrell.
Steve, I'm going to get you to come a little bit closer so we can get just crowd around. I promise I won't rub you on the leg or anything. So, so Steve, have you been here all weekend, or did you just come in today?
I got here yesterday for the entire conference.
All right, wonderful. Now, are you one of the lucky ones staying in the haunted room? I have to ask while you're here.
I did ask. They were all taken at the time. I thought it'd be fun to have one, but not far from them.
All right. Well, I'm in 205, so I'm a couple of doors down from 210, but nothing in mine except for a little chilly. That's about it. This is a very drafty place.
Yeah.
So, now have you had some personal experiences while you're here so far?
Yeah. The third floor corridor. Every time I walk through the main part of the building, I get quite lightheaded. I'm fairly sensitive, so that's been persistent. And I'll be conversing. I'll just be walking through and not even thinking about it, and all of a sudden, I go for another ride, so to speak. But we were last night. One of the rooms we were in was the caretaker's room, 327, and we were just three of us. Sat down. I sat down near the door, facing with the bed in front of me. And second or third EVP question, I asked, "Who is the President of the United States?" And I immediately got this rush toward me, and it was a physical sensation as well as psychic. And I said, "I take it you don't want to talk about who the President of the United States is?" And it came at me again.
Oh, wow.
At that point, I got the camera out to try to get a picture. I have a particularly good track record with getting shadow photographs. And I was getting the camera out, and I saw a shadow move right between me and the bed, just real close in front. I looked at it, and I thought, okay, this is not a nice feeling. I didn't feel comfortable.
Right.
It's the first time I've ever had to excuse myself from the room. But I stayed outside for a couple of minutes, and then came back and apologized. But there's definitely somebody who's not a happy camper in that room.
It sounds like it. Now, have you been on a lot of ghost hunts yourself, or is this kind of new to you?
I have always known when I walked into a place that had a ghost. I turned it off and waited 23 years before deciding I want to experiment with this again. And so last April I started going on investigations. This is about my 20th, so I'm doing it pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
I've been working with 5 different groups, and I'm affiliated with, I'm an investigator and historian from Haunted, North Carolina. And so our main place where we investigate is the battleship USS North Carolina. I've been there 4 times. But someone called me a ghost tour, because I'll go with any group anywhere to investigate, and I'm really enjoying it. I think spirits tend to be open toward being approached in a kind of a quiet and kind way.
Right.
I think coming at them with lots of equipment and stuff, I've noticed that doesn't seem to work, that they tend to disappear. So that's my approach, and I'm still developing techniques with this. On the battleship 3 weeks ago, I brought a group. This was with Chad Austin when he had the ship. I brought a group, and our goal was only to do EVP sessions in places where we felt that someone was trying to approach us. And we got a couple of very good photographs and a lot of EVPs. I haven't even finished listening to all the data yet. I usually have 2 digital recorders going.
I do the same thing too, yeah.
I'm about 5 investigations behind.
No, I've always I've been a huge advocate of carrying around multiple digital recorders because they can record voices very differently, and even your own voice or someone else you knew was in the room can sound very different on a recorder. And if you have 2 of them, you can compare them and say, oh, okay, this one might sound a lot clearer. You're like, okay, well, that was so-and-so. You know, that's what they were saying. I've always carried around 2 myself. But, yeah, it does double your workload when it's time to review it.
It's horrible. I've got Adobe Audition 3.0, and I've always thought, well, sometimes there's overlap. The 2 recorders are in the same place at the same time, not always, but that I could align them.
Right.
And I could listen to what was going on, both recorders at the same time. Possibly if there were a sound bump in one room, you might actually identify it because the recorder was in another room at the same time. So that's super confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to let somebody know. We got a few people walking in. The dining room is still open. We're just kind of having a little show here. You're more than welcome to sit in. The conversation may be a little offbeat, but so that is the thing. The hotel is still kind of up and running. You go ahead and crack that door back open. So we don't want to make the hotel mad. They were kind enough to let us in here. But so hopefully we're not making anybody upset. Joe, go ahead and leave that door open, just because the dining room technically is open. So, all right. Well, sorry there for our little interruption. Make sure everybody knows they can still sit down and eat. We don't want to starve anybody. So, but go ahead. I apologize.
Well, I was just
okay.
going to say that I think this is a place worthy of more investigation, and I encourage groups to come in and try to identify some of the personalities in some of the rooms.
Now, so this is your first time here as
yes,
well
please.
to this place. Now, being a sensitive, what was your first impression when you walked through the door?
I could feel as soon as they came in the lobby that there was some activity in the lobby. I don't know if anybody's... It's rather strange being a sensitive, and I'm still adjusting to it and getting used to the fact that if I feel something, I need to say it. And I don't know who's going to be judgmental, who's going to be accepting, who's going to think this guy is just, thinks he's Houdini or Gene Dixon or something. It's a little bit like walking a tightrope, stepping out onto a tightrope, not knowing if the other end is tied.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. And I've had to learn how to not care what other people are going to think.
Yeah.
Fortunately, the first maybe 8 or 10 investigations I've been on, I'll suddenly say, okay, somebody has just entered this room. There's a man standing over there, and he's watching us. The EVPs will bear that out after the fact. So, but I feel that I'm supported by that to the extent now that I feel I can go somewhere and say, there's something going on in this room right now.
Yeah.
I don't need to worry.
That's good.
That whether I'm right or not.
Yeah, well, that's good. Yeah, confidence is definitely an important thing, so that's great. And, glad to see that you kind of back into it and out there really doing it. It's, it's a great community, and people are definitely, helping you out and helping each other out. So far, I found definitely a lot of people here have been such a great group here.
Yeah,
so.
Well, I'm not primarily a sensitive. I'm primarily an investigator.
Right.
But I think of myself as having some extra equipment.
Right, there you go. Built-in equipment, right?
Skeptical too, and I'll wonder, am I feeling lightheaded because of that deer I had half an hour ago, something like that. So I question stuff.
All right.
I'm very happy when it's borne out by photographic or audio evidence.
All right, well, Steve, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us and share some of your experiences here, and hopefully we'll have some more throughout the rest of the weekend.
Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And I think we got, did we get another one else to share some of their experiences? So that's wonderful. And again, for those just tuning in, if you're more than welcome to join us in the chat room there if you wish. Just go to www.shadowsinthedarkradio.com. And you are listening to Shadows in the Dark. I'm your host, Jeremiah Greer, and we're broadcasting live from the Green Park Inn Paranormal Conference right here in Blowing Rock. And now I have sitting beside of me Tanya.
Tanya.
All right. Tanya Townsend. Where are you from, Tanya? Hickory. All right. So you're one of the locals here, kind of, more or less.
Yeah,
it's down the mountain, whatever you want to call it. So Well, that's wonderful. Now, so with my understanding, you've had some experiences while you're here. Now, I'm going to kind of scoot the mic so we can share it, just if you want to come a little closer to it, and tell us kind of what you've experienced so far.
Well, so far, I had my most amazing experience in the whole entire time of my paranormal investigation, which I've done this now about 1.5 years, actually in my room, and some of my friends came up and they were interested in what we do, and so I sort of walked them through a little bit of the investigation and the things we do. And so one of my friends, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, she just lost her ex-husband. Actually, he committed suicide. So, I mean, she's really, really having a lot of bad nerves about that and upset and everything. I don't know if that maybe drew something to the room, but I caught this photo that just blew me away. I'm still sort of nervous about it, shaky about it. And it's just like an anomaly with this. It's got a spray behind it, a blue spray, and I've been told this is very, very unusual. It's an actual blue, bright blue orb. Orbs, I don't really believe in orbs, but
yeah, I'm
not
the same
even
way. Oh, okay.
And then it has the spray right there behind it, like a light.
Yeah.
And so that I just found that fascinating.
Oh, wow, that is a cool picture.
Yeah. So that's what I've had so far. So I'm looking forward to tonight, hopefully catch something else.
Now, have you spoke with some of the other folks here about any of their experiences? Any other ones you've heard anybody talk about?
I haven't really heard many experiences. Our group last night, we had something going on, and we had to go through and try to debunk it with the bed, some movement in the bed, and we were not able to debunk it. We don't know what happened with it, some noises, but I've not really heard anyone else. You know, I actually took the day. I took the day and went around looking around in the snow and stuff. So hopefully tonight I'll be able to hear what's going on with some other people.
All right. Well,
hopefully at dinner.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be. Yeah, I bet there's going to be a lot of buzz at dinner time.
Exactly.
Yeah, because then so we'll all be kind of gathered in one room and not really listening to one particular person stand up there talking.
Exactly.
So I'm looking forward to that for myself. Well, Tanya, I appreciate you taking the time to join us.
Thank you.
So that is great, and
My pleasure.
Well, I will see you around here with all the other spooks.
Thank you very much.
Joe, you wouldn't come back for just a minute, would you? Because we have kind of someone who was wanting to hear from you guys. I think they come in a little bit later, but they were really interested in the that you use a blood detection kit, and I remember you talking about this. Now, you know, why would you use this on a ghost hunt, and have you had the opportunity to use it?
Yes. The purpose for assembling a forensic kit was we were getting quite a few stories of a tragic event or a murder that had occurred in a specific location, and there were reoccurring blood spots. Someone would say, you know, they would paint the wall over and over and over again, and the spot would continue to bleed through, you know, no pun intended.
Yeah.
We found in some of those locations that it was nothing more than a leak in the roof that was going between the drywall and causing moisture to bleed out through the wall. But in one particular location, there was actually a blood spot that surfaced on the carpet. And it was the first successful field test of that kit. And it worked great. You know,
wow.
We used the high-intensity UV flashlight and the amber goggles, along with a diluted version of fluorescein, which helps to bring out the spot.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've never been on a location where that's been reported, and I just couldn't imagine. I mean, what was your reaction when this was reported? You check it out, and it actually tests positive for human blood.
And it stands to reason that on the floor where you cannot scrub it complete, you would get a small amount or small trace of it, as it has been soaked into the carpet for quite a while.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Now, go ahead and give your website again. As you left earlier, I didn't get it from you again, so give your website so they can go check it out.
www.paranormalsceneinvestigators.com. It's kind of like CSI, only different.
All right. Now, on your website, do you guys talk a lot about some of this equipment you use and how you're using it, kind of like the blood detection kit? Do you have anything like that up?
It's not all posted on the website because a lot of the techniques that we're using right now are experimental for this field, but we hope to have, once it's field tested properly, all the items that we use and complete descriptions on the correct use of them in the paranormal field.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, we talked a bit of some others, and I had forgot to bring up the blood detection kit. Was there any others we didn't bring up that you guys have really got to use out there that, getting results with was just something like, I can't believe that. That's just, that's insane. The whole thing with the blood detection kit, I'm sorry, I would probably just fell over.
Well, like I said, it was surprising for us how easy it was to find the trace elements using the kits that we use. We are still right now experimenting with a theory upon where we're going to use if an object, objects that have been known to move, we're going to dust them or clean them thoroughly, and then if an object moves throughout an investigation, we're going to go back and be able to dust it for fingerprints.
Right.
Now everyone's going to say you're crazy, a ghost is not going to leave a fingerprint, and actually it doesn't have to, but any discernible patterns like the outline of a handprint, or even if you do capture a fingerprint, it'll give you an idea of whether somebody else moved it rather than the offended spirit.
Right. Now, somebody's asking, what about cold spots? You guys have anything that you use to detect cold spots?
We use quite a few of the digital thermometers. We have several different types. Cold spots are basically, cold is always there. Once you extract energy from the air, that's what you're left with. The proper way to utilize the detection of cold spots in a paranormal investigation is to try to track it or find a pattern or some type of intelligent movement. Once you locate a cold spot, you do not accept it for just where it is. As it dissipates, what you'll want to do is move forward or backwards, up, down, side to side, the basic 6 directions, and see if you can regain that same temperature drop.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll give you the
Sorry, we just keep having somebody walking in and out of the door there. I don't know what they're doing, but
maybe they're hungry.
Might be. I told them they could still eat. So.
All right. Well, it'll give you some type of intelligent movement to it, that can give you an idea whether you want to classify it or you'll be able to classify it as something paranormal or something man-made. If you detect a cold spot and you can track that temperature drop to a heating or cooling system van or a window, then you've debunked it.
Right. All right. Now, I really like how you guys go about it. I think it's very cool and definitely different than a lot of the groups that are out there. And I think some groups could really pick up some tips from you guys into using some different equipment and really looking at things in a whole different kind of scientific way. I think it's great. One more time, give us your website so everybody can go check you out.
www.paranormalsceneinvestigators.com.
And we're going to be, you guys are going to try to get, there's going to be tons of data to review, not just from you guys, but everybody else that is here. So I guess trying to encourage everybody to send that in and post. You're going to get it posted up on the website.
We're encouraging all the participants of this paranormal conference to email any evidence, no matter how small they think it is, to our website and allow us to look at it ourselves.
And now, what about if? Do you guys travel pretty far to investigations? Do you have a limit? We have a global audience, to be honest, and some might really dig the way you guys investigate and want you to come out.
Well, we're happy to travel as far as it takes, because our basic purpose for investigating is, one, it's a really cool hobby that we have a high interest in, but it's to help people.
Right.
And if someone needs help several states over, we're more than happy to travel to do what we can to try to help them out.
All right, that's wonderful. Well, Joe, I'll let you get back out there. If there's any other one that maybe you can send in here, that would be great. Anybody that's had some experiences. So we've got about 15 minutes left here, and we'll be done. For all those tuning in, this is Shadows in the Dark. We are broadcasting live from the Green Park Inn Paranormal Conference right here at the Green Park Inn Hotel in Blowing Rock, North Carolina. This is such a beautiful place. And if you get the chance to look it up on the internet, you should check it out. It's a huge hotel, and it is just, it is so beautiful. Maybe you should think about taking a vacation up here sometime. Now, me, while I'm kind of here talking with myself, I personally haven't had any experiences yet. I got to go around some of the ghost hunts last night, and we're going to be going around with some tonight, and we went into some of these rooms that Scott spoke about earlier, and they're beautiful rooms, quite frankly, and a lot of history is here, but unfortunately, I haven't had any experiences myself, so we will definitely see. Besides the lack of sleep, that's about all I've got. The hunts went till about 2 o'clock this morning. I went to bed about 3:30 and got back up around 7, 8 o'clock to listen to the panels. And there are some great panels. They've had some great discussions here, and I'm not sure. I've seen a lot of folks around with video cameras, and maybe they're going to end up putting this on some kind of DVD, and maybe you can pick it up and check that out, because it should be very interesting for those who really tune into the show on a regular basis. I'm sure you could probably see me make a fool of myself up there talking. I did get the opportunity to speak at the conference here on resources for paranormal research, which is something we definitely utilize a lot right here on the show. Each show, we do research on each show, read the books, or any kind of places we can find to understand more about what we're going to talk about, so we can give a good discussion. But yeah, definitely go check it out. There, Paranormal Scene Investigators. That's www.paranormalsceneinvestigators.com. PSI. Haunted Computers Productions. That's www.hauntedcomputers.com. And I even believe that the Green Park Inn has a website as well. And I think it is greenparkinn.com. www.greenparkinn.com. Of course, we have our website if you want to go check it out. shadowsinthedarkradio.com. You're more than welcome to join up for our free forum there. You can check out our web store or sign up for our monthly newsletter that most time we actually even send it out sometimes a little sooner than a month. It just depends on what we have going on, what kind of word we want to get out there. So make sure to go check that out. Now I think we'll see who's coming through the door here. All right, well we've got a PSI member here, so we're going to get them to sit down and chit-chat with us for a few minutes here, and we'll see what we got. So it's Tammy? All right, Tammy, how are you doing?
Doing fine, thanks.
All right, wonderful. Now, so you've been leading some of the groups, right?
Yes.
Now, first off, what's your impression of Green Park Inn?
Well, I never really get an impression, except that it's an awesome place. Its history is incredible, and surely there must be something here, but I never know what's here until I review the evidence.
Right, yeah. Well, most definitely, I've definitely heard that your group likes to go in blind a lot of times, too.
It is better to do that, because at least that way you don't already have preconceived notions of what you're going to run into.
Yeah, most definitely, and that's a good way to go about it. So now, leading the groups, what kind of experiences has your groups that you've had so far?
Well, I've led one group, and there were two or three of the women who do this on a regular basis. So I didn't feel like I was having to lead a group to teach a group. I was with a group who we took everything we all know and just put into, our investigation. And again, I'm sure that there were the ladies in the group that felt things. And their impression overall is that they have had an awesome time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems everybody's having a great time here. And, you kind of hear a little bit of the buzz of people experiencing things. I haven't been able to get them, write down and then exactly what they're experiencing, but you can hear the buzz going around, pulling people in the corner. Look. So it's great to see that going on here.
We'll get together. Sometimes you'll see someone that you spent time with, and they'll have their camera, and they'll say, hey, you've got to come over and look at this. Can you see what I see? And it's really cool when you do see.
Yeah, it is. Now, how long have you been into paranormal investigations?
I've always been fascinated with paranormal, and when Joe told me one day, he's a friend. I go to his business for things done for my car, and he said, we're putting together a paranormal group, and I just said, oh my God, I would just love to do that. So he said, well, I tell you what, when we get it all started, I'll give you a call, and he did. So I was really glad that he remembered that I really wanted to do it.
Now, your interest in it, did it start with any kind of experiences yourself, or was just the fascination of that these are possibilities?
The fascination of the possibilities. I have never had an experience.
Wow.
I've never, and someone even said earlier that it takes a big person who's never experienced to actually attend a paranormal conference. So, it's just something I've always been interested in, and I get a lot of things from EVP, so that's enough for me to say, there must be something there, because that entity just answered my question.
Right, yeah. EVPs it's an amazing piece of data. I mean, just to go back, and especially, we've had cases where we've been in a room by ourselves, and I'm male, and I get a female voice, and it's like, well, obviously I know there's nobody else in the room, number one. Number two, and I know there was no female in the room, and you get this female voice, and it can send some chills down your spine of some of the responses that you get. And I know Chad was playing some when he was going over the audio part of the conference, and some of those were just awesome. And did you get a chance to hear some of those?
I did not get to hear any of it, but I've listened to so many, just because it's just something I enjoy.
Well, they were doing this whole thing of this kind of like complete this phrase, and they would say part of the Pledge of Allegiance, and the EVP would be finishing the Pledge of Allegiance or the Lord's Prayer. They would play that one earlier, and I thought those two, that is just some fascinating EVPs right there. To get the response, it's still very cool, but when you've got a phrase being finished, you really have to step back and say, okay, what the heck just happened there?
In the section of the Green Park Inn where they, it's been said that they hear children, we actually had one lady to start reciting nursery rhymes to see if they could finish them.
Right, and I hope that a lot of these new investigators did pick that up on Chad's session there on the EVPs, because it was really good. I think he done a fantastic job, and that whole finish the phrase thing, it was like, oh, that's all I'm going to do now.
That's. I'm glad you told me.
To say the Pledge of Allegiance, I think they got I pledge allegiance to thee, and they stopped, and then the EVP comes in, and it's kind of garbled. You can definitely tell it wasn't them, and it says United States of America, and you're like, oh man, that is probably, though it's not spooky, or anything, like a get out or get away, it still sends more chills down your spine than any other one I've heard, because of the fact that was an intelligent response.
Well, we've heard the get out before. But, there's just something really exciting. It's like, oh my gosh, I just asked that question, and now I know that there was a response.
Yeah.
And, when you do this enough times, you learn to make sure that everybody knows to say if you bump something.
Right.
I bumped something. But if you pay close enough attention at the time that you're doing your EVP work, you know when that answer comes from somewhere else.
All right. Now, does everybody in the group kind of review their own EVP sessions, or can other people do it? Because I find that, if somebody gives you a record, so this is what I record, and so it's very difficult to listen to because you weren't there. So you don't know, you're not familiar with what was going on. So, somebody didn't say, express that somebody bumped something or that they whispered at the time. You don't know that. And you're sitting there listening to it, and you're going to pick up stuff that you say, well, that's an EVP, and it really wasn't.
Well, we do a little both. We listen to our own, and sometimes we'll listen to other recordings that were made. A lot of times there's more than one person in the room holding a recorder, and if you are in the room at the time when you trade recorders, you're able to know what more or less was said or done at that time. But when you get their recorder, you're also reviewing some of the EVP that they pick up somewhere else.
Right.
So it's just a matter of knowing your group.
Yeah.
You know your group, you know your group's voices, and it's just something that you go in, and you just have to know who's with you and the sound of their voice.
Right. All right. Well, Tammy, we've just got a couple minutes left, so thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share, some of the experiences that y'all have had on the group hunt. So we will definitely be seeing you out there, and hopefully experiencing all kinds of stuff.
Thank you for having me.
You are most welcome. All right, everybody. Only a few more minutes here before the show ends. Like I said, we were only going to do a special 1-hour broadcast from here because so much is going on. It was very tough for me to even find a place to squeeze it in. It was very tough. Like I said, I kind of took over the dining room here. I think people are wanting to come in and eat, so I thought I would only do an hour tonight, and a little off schedule as well. So now, just keep in mind, this Sunday we are not going to broadcast the show because I will be driving home from this Green Park Inn Paranormal Conference. So no show Sunday, but of course we will be back Thursday at our regular time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, with the host of Ground Zero Radio, Clyde Lewis. And that's going to be a very interesting show. Clyde is a very intelligent guy, really knows his stuff on many different aspects of the paranormal, so make sure that you tune in for that. Now, again, make sure to check all the websites that was given out here. We got PSI's, Paranormal Scene Investigators, at www.paranormalsceneinvestigators.com. Haunted Computers Production at www.hauntedcomputers.com. Yes, that is the one. So it was, like I said, you really should check out this place on the internet if you get the chance. It is a beautiful hotel, and if you ever plan on making a trip to North Carolina or the Blowing Rock region of North Carolina, then by all means stop in and check out the Green Park Inn. It is just a beautiful, beautiful place and very much worth checking it out. And just to let you know a few other shows we got coming up, as we've got just a couple minutes left here, and let everybody know kind of what's coming up on Shadows in the Dark. But while I'm looking it up, I want to encourage everyone to go sign up for our newsletter. It is free. We send it out monthly. Just go to www.shadowsinthedarkradio.com and click on the button over to the side that says newsletter. It'll take you right to it. Just fill it out, and you will start receiving those. Now, just be sure if you have an AOL account, email account, we have issues with those newsletters actually going through to those accounts. So quite possibly, I think we're going to have to say, no AOL accounts, please, because they will be automatically deleted. Because if they're not making it, we tested it out ourselves. We created a couple accounts and never got the confirmation letter, never got the newsletter when it was sent, even when I manually went in and confirmed that particular person on the newsletter. So AOL accounts, sorry, we just can't seem to get it to work. It's a thing on AOL side. Any other kind of email account seems to work just fine. So if you want to go and sign up for another free email account, it is definitely up to you, but we will definitely add you to the newsletter if you do so. All right, some of the other shows that we do have coming up that I'm all excited about. Well, actually, gosh, we only have a few seconds here, so I'm going to get out of here then. Well, thank everybody for tuning in, all those who took part in the show tonight, and of course the Green Park Inn Paranormal Conf gives us the opportunity to broadcast live from here. Make sure to check out all of our other shows, our archives, and look forward to our shows coming up. Visit our web store, www.shadowsinthedarkradio.com, and we will see everybody next time. You have been listening to Shadows in the Dark, where the darkness is illuminated. Good night, everyone.
Shadows